I'm Alex from King of the Gym, and today I'm reviewing the Vulcan M-61 Multi-Bench, which is Vulcan's brand new flagship adjustable weight bench. This is one of the most overbuilt flat incline decline benches that money can buy, and I'm going to break down everything about it from adjustability to durability, comfort, aesthetics, and all the small design details that make this thing stand out, or in a couple of cases, fall short. I've tested it thoroughly over the past 6 weeks or so I know this thing inside and out, and I'm excited to tell you all about it. So if you're considering the M61 for your home gym, this review will give you everything you need to know about it to make an informed decision. And if you do decide to buy, as always, I'll include my affiliate link in the description that helps support my channel at no extra cost to you. But you need to keep watching because there's a whole lot to consider before you decide to buy. So first off, assembly was quick. It took me about 30 minutes or so. The main frame comes mostly assembled. You just attach the pads, the rear base, and a few handles. The packaging was excellent, reinforced boxes, nothing was damaged, and all parts were protected inside. Now to the fun stuff. So this thing is an absolute tank. It weighs 140 pounds, making it easily one of the heaviest adjustable benches on the market right now. It's right up there with the Rogue Manta Ray, which is also 140 pounds. The heavy weight comes from a whole bunch of steel, thick steel throughout the bench. The thinnest steel on this bench is still a beefy 3 millimeters or 11 gauge thick tubing in the form of the 2x4 inch steel frame. Then you have the ridiculously thick 12 millimeter or ½ inch thick steel plate running down the length of the backrest on both sides. So don't worry, you're very well supported when pressing big weights on this bench. There's also a lot of 10 millimeter steel used to reinforce the hinge area. And let's not forget the ladder rails, which are also super thick at nearly 8 millimeters. Like I said, this bench is a tank. The heavy weight makes it rock solid under load. No wobbling, rocking, or shifting during use. I've tested it by doing near max loads on flat and incline press, and I was very happy with how stable it was during that. I even did heavy hip thrusts off the side, and the thing didn't budge. Another area where the heavy weight comes in handy is chest-supported cable rows. By being so heavy, you don't have to worry about the bench sliding even when you're pulling heavy weight with it. The stability doesn't just come from the weight though. The design matters too. This is a tripod style bench, so you got a single front foot and a rear stabilizer with 2 points of contact. Not only do the 3 points of contact total prevent wobbling on uneven surfaces, but they also give your feet clearance in the front. But importantly, the front foot is also wide enough that you don't sacrifice stability when sitting on the front end of the bench. All of the feet have protective inserts to protect your floors. I appreciate that these inserts are actually bolted into the bench frame so they won't slip off like on many other bench designs. Now let's talk about adjustability. It's a ladder style adjustable bench for both the backrest and the seat, which I much prefer over pop pin systems. You get a ridiculous 13 different backrest positions from -10 degrees to 85 degrees. That's more angle options, I think, than I've seen on any other adjustable bench on the market. This is a huge benefit if you're picky about getting just the right angle for certain exercises. So just from 0 to 45, it gives you 0 degrees, 10, 20, 30, 35, 40, and 45 degrees. That's a whole lot of options just within the 0 to 45 range, which is quite possibly the most important range of angle options that an adjustable bench can have, because typically that's where you're going to be doing most of your incline work. For me, that's usually incline barbell press, incline dumbbell press, and incline dumbbell rows. For the higher incline angles, I appreciate that the highest setting is 85 instead of 90 degrees. Though even for me, the 85-degree setting is just too upright when doing shoulder press. I personally have been sticking to the 75-degree angle setting for that. You also get 5 seat angles from -20 to +30 degrees. The 30-degree is steep enough to keep you from sliding forward on low incline exercises, and having the decline seat option allows you to position your head comfortably for steep decline angles when using the leg roller on the backrest. But it's also nice that you can still do mild decline exercises without the leg roller. Instead, you just put the backrest at -10 degrees and the seat at +10 degrees. Another nice detail is that all angle markings are laser cut into the ladder rails, not just etched, but cut all the way through. When I got the bench originally, it shipped with black rails, even though I ordered the stainless steel rails. But Vulcan remedied this and shipped out a replacement set. So for some time, I used it with the black rails. And when I finally swapped them out, it was a noticeable improvement in a couple of ways. So first off, it just looked so much sleeker, but also it eliminated a couple of issues that I had with the black rails. Namely, I no longer have to deal with any chipping of the powder coat where the adjustment arm makes contact. And now I can clearly see the angle numbers because of the better contrast. With the black rails, I'd have to get up close to clearly see the settings. It's a fully enclosed ladder, which is what I and most people, I think, prefer. It keeps the adjustment arm contained when you're lifting the back pad to change angles. It's also safer during upright storage because the arm can't swing out. One critique though about the ladder system is that the adjustment arm makes metal on metal contact with the rail slots. There's no protective covering on the end of the adjustment arm like you'll find on plenty of other adjustable benches. This makes it pretty loud if you change angles quickly. I may be more sensitive to sound than others, so I don't think most people will care about this as much, but still, some type of dampening material would certainly make adjusting a more pleasant process. Another thing you'll notice when adjusting the backrest is that it can be challenging to lift it up from the side due to just the sheer amount of steel on it. It's much easier to adjust it by lifting the end of the back pad up. So you're basically trading a bit of ease of use for heavy duty build quality. The industrial grind frame finish is awesome. It's raw, rugged, and it just looks super badass, especially now that I swapped in the stainless rails. And the new rails came with the matching stainless steel hardware too, so the whole thing just ties together visually. It's awesome. Vulcan also offers a gloss red or metallic black powder coat finish for the bench frame. Each of those can be paired with either the stainless steel or black powder coat rails. The different powder coat finishes will save you a decent chunk of money compared to the industrial grind frame and the stainless rails, and I'll talk about that later. The branding details on the bench are subtle, but definitely high quality. You get a laser cut Vulcan text logo on each side of the backrest adjustment arm, and their V icon is cut into the front foot. It looks amazing and is in line with what you'd expect on a premium bench. Let's talk about the handles. That's right, handles plural. There's not one, not two, but a full 3 different handles on this bench. And they're all knurled stainless steel. There's one on the front foot for lifting and moving the bench, of course. Then the other 2 are on the end of the backrest and on the front of the seat for adjusting the different pad angles. You may think this is kind of a gimmick, but it's actually useful, particularly for the backrest handle. As mentioned earlier, the backrest is super heavy because of the 1/2-inch steel plating on it, and it's much more efficient to lift from the end of the backrest. So having a secure handle to grip onto does actually help when adjusting, but beyond that, the handles just look incredibly cool. And in terms of the handles knurling, they all have a grippy medium depth pattern. The front lift handle is mounted on an M-shaped bracket, which is probably a subtle nod to the M-61 name. And it's capped with some nice looking acorn nuts. These are more little touches that just add to the premium feel. The only improvement I could think of is if the welded mini handles on the seat and backrest adjustment arms were also knurled to match the look of the main handles. Despite being 140 pounds, this bench is actually relatively easy to move for a bench of its weight. It has wheels on the rear feet, and the lift handle is placed lower and further out than you'll find on benches like my Rep AB 5000. This provides better leverage when tipping it onto the wheels. And even my wife, who won't even bother with the AB 5000 at all, she can move the M61 without too much of a struggle. And keep in mind, the AB 5000 is 15 pounds lighter. It's not like you can zip the M61 around the gym with zero effort, but it's pretty manageable for its size. That said, the wheels did have some resistance out of the box. They were pre-installed, and I think they were over-tightened in the factory. I ended up removing them, cleaning out some debris, and lubricating them, and now they roll so much better. However, they still have a little more resistance than I'd like, but only at steeper tilt angles. And the wheels also have covers which protect them from damage and even allow a spotter to stand on them without worrying about slipping on the wheel. It also just looks cool and helps with the upright storage as well. Both the seat and the backrest use very dense foam. This is by far the firmest pad setup I've owned. It's great if you lift heavy and want a lot of support, though less so if you prefer some cushion. I didn't like it initially, but have become quite accustomed to it now. The upholstery is a basket weave style gripping vinyl. It keeps me in place while benching with the shirt on, even if I'm a bit sweaty. Of course, if I go shirtless and I'm sweating, I'm gonna slide regardless. It's relatively easy to clean, at least compared to the older divot style grippy vinyl that you'll find on other benches, though sweat marks do show more easily. And a downside of the upholstery is that there's like surface level scratches or scuffs that can show up pretty quickly and they don't necessarily wipe away. It's not a huge deal, but it can take away from the pristine look, at least if you focus on it too much. The back pad is 12 inches wide, making it IPF compliant. If you want a wider pad, Vulcan will actually be releasing a 14-inch pad later this year, though I think 12 inches is best for an adjustable bench, at least for most people. The back pad is nice and long at 38 inches, so it will fully support your head at all angles, even for tall users. The pad gap is very minimal, about 1 inch. It's barely noticeable and way easier to deal with than a zero gap system. For flat benching, the long backrest length allows you to shift your body backwards if needed in case your butt happens to land right on the gap, but even if it does, you barely feel it. The bench is 17.5 inches tall in the flat position, which is great because it's as tall as can be while still being IPF compliant. Now, for the leg roller attachment, it's solid. There are 3 settings for installing it closer or further out, depending on your leg length. It's secured with a pop pin into the receiver on the backrest, and there's a secondary detent pin for added security. Now, the padding on the roller is firm, but slightly forgiving. The best use of the leg roller attachment is decline ab work, I'd say. It keeps you locked in and super secure while doing sit-ups. And even at steep angles, the bench remains quite stable during normal movement, though it can move a bit if you're irresponsibly explosive in your sit-up motion. Of course, you can also use this for decline bench press, and it works just like you'd hope. Though personally, if I'm going to do work on the lower chest, I'd rather just do dips, but that's just me, I guess. One thing to note, the M61's receiver is smaller than the Rep AB 5000's, so it unfortunately won't be compatible with Rep's upcoming leg developer cable attachment, which is something I was hoping it might work with, but maybe there will be a compatible solution for dialed motions leg developer attachment, which is also coming out soon. This bench does a great job with upright storage. A lot of thought clearly went into making this as secure as possible when stored vertically. So first off, it rests perfectly flat on the protective bumpers on the end of the backrest and on the steel wheel covers. Also, the enclosed ladder keeps the backrest from flipping out. And lastly, there's also Vulcan's lockdown feature, which is a pin that locks both the backrest and the seat pad in place when upright. So the seat won't accidentally flop forward, which happens with some other benches. The lock pin even has a knurled knob to match the rest of the bench's aesthetic, which is pretty cool. I haven't seen a feature like this on any other bench on the market, so I really like this. As you can probably tell, apart from a few minor critiques, I really like this bench, but there's one part that's not so exciting, and that's the price tag. This is a premium bench, and it comes with a very premium price tag, especially if you get the industrial grind frame with the stainless steel rails like I have. That version costs $1,019 for just the bench, or $1,128 with the leg roller. That puts it around the same price as the Rogue Manta Ray bench, so basically the very top of the adjustable bench market. Alternatively, you can pay as little as $760 for just the bench if you opt for a powder coated finish on both the frame and the rails. So there is that option if you like the bench design but can't afford the finish that I have. So, is the Vulcan M-61 Multi-Bench worth it? Well, if you want a lightweight and extremely maneuverable bench, this isn't it. Likewise, if you want a good bang for your buck, you should look elsewhere because this thing is expensive. But if you want a rock solid premium bench with best-in-class adjustability, top-tier aesthetics, super secure upright storage features, and excellent construction quality, then yeah, this thing is definitely awesome if you have the budget for it. If you do decide to buy, then be sure to use my affiliate link to support my channel at no extra cost. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions I didn't cover, definitely ask in the comments. I hope you found this review useful. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe for more equipment reviews coming soon. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.